¿Qué onda? This is Shista Garcilaso. Aztlan Weekly is a volunteer-based community news outlet. Our work is brought to you by the contributions of El Partido Nacional de la Raza Unida, PNLRU, also known as La Raza Unida Party. If you're interested in learning more about the party or want to join, visit www.razaunidaparty.org. Our show is also brought to you by Maíz Poppin' Press, a raza-based publisher producing cultura para la raza. For more info, visit their webpage, www.maizpoppin.com, or find them on social media by searching at Maíz Poppin' Press, and keep a lookout for their book, Once Upon a Time in Occupied Aztlan, by El Indio, copyright 1985. Lastly, Aztlan Weekly is made possible by you, the listener. If interested in offering further contributions or support, visit www.aztlanweekly.com. And now, on with the show.
We interrupt this program for a special news bulletin.
There is a signal broadcast every second of every day. Look around the environment we live in. Carbon dioxide, fluorocarbons, and methane have increased. We are resourced to them. They want benign indifference. They want us drugged. We could be pets. We could be food. But all we really are is livestock. Our impulses are being redirected. We are living in an artificially induced state of consciousness that resembles sleep. The poor and the underclass are growing. Racial justice and human rights are non-existent. They have created a repressive society, and we are their unwitting accomplices. Their intention to rule rests with the annihilation of consciousness. We have been lulled into a trance. They have made us indifferent to ourselves, to others. We are focused only on our own gain. Please understand, they are safe as long as they are not discovered. That is their primary method of survival. Keep us asleep, keep us selfish, keep us sedated.
¿Qué hubo, raza? Yo soy Ernesto Ayala.
¿Qué hubo, raza? Yo soy Shista Garcilaso.
¿Qué hubo, raza? Yo soy Robert Ramirez.
¿Qué rollo con el pollo, raza? This is El Indio.
And this is Aztlan Weekly.
Empezamos con noticias desde el Centro Valle de Califas. According to EdSource, the UC Merced Police Department has reportedly shared automated license plate reader data with 9 federal agencies, including U.S. Customs and Border Protection and 187 non-California entities across 38 states. This widespread data sharing appears to violate a state law prohibiting such information from being shared outside of Califaslan. University cameras positioned at campus entrances and parking lots make it nearly impossible for drivers to avoid being recorded. Advocates for undocumented students have expressed significant concerns, particularly regarding the potential impact on families attending upcoming graduation events. Critics, including Oakland Privacy, characterize these actions as a disturbing breach of state regulations, despite arguments from law enforcement that the technology is a vital investigative tool. Read the full story at edsource.org.
In Fresno, California, the Just Dipping Car Club hosted its annual lowrider celebration at Kearney Park, drawing car clubs from across the state for a free, family-friendly event. Founder Ivan Meza emphasized that lowriding is a multi-generational tradition, with participants ranging from grandfathers to young children. The club, which started in 2000 and marked its 26th anniversary, showcased both lowriders, beautifully detailed cars with chrome and custom interiors, and hoppers, which are built to jump off the ground. For many attendees, the culture serves as an escape from daily life and a connection to the past, with roots in California cities like San Jose. The event also focused on inspiring the next generation. Young club member Jojo Meza, now 23, built his first car with his father and hopes that children watching will feel the same motivation to carry on the tradition. Attendees like Nela Loredo and Roman Perez describe lowriding as a cultural backdrop that helps people forget their troubles and relive earlier cruising days. The Just Dip in Car Club's message to the public is to give lowrider culture a chance, as it continues to be passed down through families and celebrated as a vibrant Central Valley tradition.
There is something happening in Texas right now that everyone should know about because it is a very big deal. And it's called Stargate. And yes, it's just like the sci-fi movie, except this isn't tech hype. This is an actual infrastructure. Stargate is a massive AI build-out. We're talking data centers, energy systems, land, basically the physical backbone of artificial intelligence. And what's even scarier is who owns it. The companies involved in this is OpenAI, Microsoft, and NVIDIA, with an investment reaching up to $500 billion. That is not startup money. That's build a country money. And a major part of this is happening in Texas because it's easier to get land, energy, and there are fewer constraints. When a few companies control infrastructure at this level, you're not just centralizing technology, you're centralizing intelligence itself. This opens the door to AI weaponization, autonomous cyber warfare, AI surveillance systems, and even military decision-making being partially automated. And it doesn't just stop there. This triggers rapid global escalation between nations that are going to be moving faster, but not safer, because right now we're scaling intelligence before we fully understand how to control it, the ethics of it, and the alignment of it. If these systems become the main source of knowledge, they can shape narratives, they can influence our culture and our politics. Worst part is they can filter what is considered truth, because what happens is decision-making starts shifting from humans to algorithms. People rely on AI to think, to write, to analyze, and that makes manipulation at a scale easier than ever. These systems require massive electricity, tons of water for cooling, and huge amounts of land. That means strained local resources, higher emissions, and real competition with communities for energy and water. This isn't just innovation. This is power at a level we have never seen. And if we don't pay attention to who controls it, we will not get to decide what the future looks like.
That was news brought to us by our hermana Lorena Reynoso. You can find more from her by visiting Instagram or searching Instagram with _folk_lore. That's with folk lore. Y noticias desde Aztlán, Nevada. A new report from the Institute of Taxation and Economic Policy ranks Nevada as having the fifth most regressive tax system in the nation. Despite lacking a state income tax, while often considered low tax, the state's reliance on sales and excess taxes means the lowest income residents face a higher effective tax rate than the wealthy. Specifically, the poorest 20% of Nevadans pay roughly 11.9% of their income in taxes, while the top 1% pay only 2.8%. Middle-income families bear a tax burden of approximately 8.4%. Illustrating a significant disparity in the state's revenue structure. This system places a heavier financial burden on lower-income households who spend a higher proportion of their income on taxable goods. Read the full analysis at nevadacurrent.com. And back to Calipaslan. The Wallace-Annenberg Wildlife Crossing over the 101 freeway in Agoro Hills, Calipas is scheduled to open on December 2nd, 2026. Marking the completion of the world's largest wildlife bridge. This $114 million project aims to reconnect habitat for the mountain lions, bobcats, and other wildlife in the area. Construction began in 2022 and faced delays from rain, inflation, and labor shortages. The structure spans 10 lanes and is designed as a living ecosystem with over 1.1 million native plants, Wildlife is already beginning to utilize the area as the final phase of construction concludes. Read the full story at newsnationnow.com.
We'll be right back after a word from our contributors.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
I'm Scott Russell Duncan, a Chicano writer, editor, and AztlanWeekly reporter with the widest name. AztlanWeekly is produced in association with Maíz Poppin' Press, where we publish radical imagination and resistance writing that pops. Visit maizpoppin.com. We're also in association with the Palabras del Pueblo Writing Workshop, an affordable and accessible online workshop that centers La Raza and strengthens our own literary institutions. Writing that speaks to our community first and loudest. See more at palabrasdelpueblo.com.
What's up, familia? If you're looking for a space that celebrates powerful storytelling, community, and culture, the Brown Book Club is where you need to be. Since 2020, we've been building a community centered on Latina, Latino, Chicana, Chicano, and indigenous voices, uplifting stories that reflect who we are, where we come from, and where we're going. We don't just read these books, we connect with the authors behind them. Through the Brown Book Club podcast, we've had real conversations with incredible writers, diving deeper into their stories, their process, and their lived experiences. This is more than a book club. It's community, it's culture, it's conversation. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Just search the Brown Book Club and tap in.
Okay, so let's say you've got the Mexica calendar for the upcoming year, Se Tochtli, and you want to know a little bit more about the philosophy and worldview associated with the ancestral calendar system. Or maybe you're curious about the individual feasts that are held in connection with each of the months. Well, dear listeners, I've got you covered, because my new book, Never Will It Be Lost, is now available. It features beautiful cover art provided by the amazing artist Mi Corazón Mexica, and it's packed with full-color images from the codices. In it, I go over each of the monthly feasts, and I provide some guidance and suggestions on how these feasts can be celebrated today. I also go into the Mexica worldview, cosmovision, and philosophy, and I talk about how we, as modern-day Mesoamerican descendants, can connect with and actualize this philosophy in the modern world. I'm super proud of this book. Again, it's called Never Will It Be Lost: Ritual, Remembrance, and the Aztec Calendar by yours truly, Curly Tlapoyawa. And if you order it using the link in the show notes, you get $5 off. So if you want to support independent, indigenous Chicano media, please consider picking it up. Tlaxcamati Timoitase.
And now news desde Arizona Slan. Chantal Wadsworth, a dedicated advocate from Shiprock, has received a national award for her efforts to improve pet care access within the Navajo Nation. To bridge the gap in services, she often drives families and their animals to veterinary appointments in a region with limited care. Her work earned a $10,000 grant for her nominating organization to support essential veterinary services. This funding is vital, as only 2 clinics serve the vast area. By connecting remote residents with care, Wadsworth improves the health of pets and owners throughout the Navajo Nation. Read more at navajotimes.com.
Y noticias desde Tejaslan. An EF-2 tornado, with 135-mile-per-hour winds struck Runaway Bay, Tejaslan, on April 25th, 2026, causing widespread damage. This, along with the EF-1 tornado near Springtown, was part of a larger North Texas storm outbreak that resulted in 2 deaths. Residents reported destroyed homes, overturned vehicles, and significant damage to the area. Emergency crews are actively assessing damage in multiple counties. Read the full report at fox4news.com.
And in wildlife news desde Utahslan, the Utah Division of Wildlife Resources is seeking qualified custodians in Washington County to adopt captive Mojave desert tortoises that cannot return to the wild. Applicants must provide secure outdoor enclosures with proper burrowing space and shade for these protected animals. These tortoises remain state property and cannot be bred, sold, or moved outside the region. The process requires a formal application, home site inspection, and a registration fee. This initiative aims to rehome displaced animals while supporting the conservation of the threatened species. For more information, visit the Salt Lake City Tribune website.
Now back to Calipaslan and Sur Calipas. Long Beach has launched a pilot program with its first 2 all-electric zero-emission garbage trucks as part of a move to transition its 77-vehicle fleet. While costing double that of traditional trucks, the vehicles are expected to offer long-term savings on fuel and maintenance. The city is building a 10-port charging station at its Environmental Services Department to support the vehicles. The new, quieter trucks aim to improve local air quality by eliminating tailpipe emissions. This initiative represents a significant step towards meeting the city's climate goals. Read the full story at lbpost.com.
Spensa, damas y caballeros. We seem to be experiencing some technical difficulties. I don't know, just put it in the tape.
Spensa, damas, caballeros, we seem to be experiencing some technical difficulties.
Please stand by.
I can see a lot
there, listeners. Now back to Aslan Weekly.
That firme rola we just heard was called Chin Up by Beyond California or Beyond Califas. For more of their music, search Beyond California on YouTube, Spotify, etc.
We interrupt this program for a special news bulletin.
What's up? My name is Mark.
I'm Andrew.
And we're two members of band Beyond California from Fresno, California.
Our third member, Ethan, couldn't make it today, but he's an important member of ours as well.
Very important member of our band as well.
What do you do, Mark?
I am the vocalist / guitarist / bassist.
Oh, nice. And I'm the drummer. And Ethan, who we just talked about, is the guitarist,
vocalist / bassist.
And yes, sound engineer.
Yes.
Father,
moral authority figure.
Moral, yeah.
Yes.
Brings it together.
Good guy, yeah.
Where are we from, Mark?
We're from Fresno, California. You know, we're a grunge punk rock band, and the song you guys were listening to is called Chin Up. It is a song I wrote before I joined the band, actually. And
how did we start it, although?
It's seven years ago, so that was one of our first ones, off our first album, A Cry for Help. And so 11 is a mixture of me and Ethan writing music together and collaborating. And I gotta say, it turned out a lot better with this guy on drums and Ethan on the bass playing that song. Sounded a lot better in reality than it did in my head when I wrote it. And that song's just basically about things you experience when you're around 25 and start realizing you're going to die soon and kind of just trying to enjoy every day while it's there. You know, keep your chin up. It's going to be hard. Staring at the sun is hard. You know, you can go blind doing that, but you know, you can go blind anyway, you know, just enjoy every second of every day because it's better than being underground.
Yeah. And 7 years ago, we did that song. So
yeah,
we're still 7 years still.
We've grown so much.
Yeah.
So much.
Done.
Yeah.
Tell them what we got going. Do you have anything coming up or?
Yeah, you know, we're writing our third album right now. We have 2 out, on like Spotify and whatnot, but we're writing third one, best one yet. We've really fallen into the groove of who we are as musicians, and it's turning out really good.
Yeah, and I feel like, you know, hopefully in the near future that should be coming out, you know.
Yeah,
give it a good time. So
we're taking our time with it. We wanted, but that's who we are. And then, you know, you can find us on like Spotify, YouTube. We got some videos on YouTube, Amazon Music. You know, we're on all that. Instagram, Facebook. Look up Beyond California. We are not the little kid version. There's a little kids with also the same name, Beyond California. They're all right.
They're cool.
They got a lot of room to grow. But
maybe they need a rebrand.
Yeah, you know, we asked them. They sent us a cease and desist order. They said
they actually did it, but
yeah, you know, we're in a lawsuit battle with them at the moment.
Not currently, but
yeah. That's who we are, man. You know, I hope you like the song. You know,
yeah. Enjoy the song. This is Chin Up.
Chin Up.
And in joint news desde Colorazlan y Nuevo Mexicaslan, the New Mexico Arts Instagram post announces calling all Colorado and New Mexico artists. 5 installation sites in downtown Alamosa, 4 specific exhibition themes, and 1 general exhibition. All sites will be activated with community events June to December 2026. $1,000 and $500. People's Choice Awards cash prizes at each of the 5 sites. Warm cookies of the revolution, goodie bags for all participating artists. No submission fee. Submissions due May 4th. Join us in sparking radical imagination and conversation. Let's build a more livable future. Submissions due again May 4th, 2026. For more information, visit warmcookiesoftherevolution.org.
And back to Tehaslan. The investigation into the July 4th, 2025 Camp Mystic flood centers on whether the deaths of 27 individuals were preventable, with the director admitting to missing official flood warnings and failing to conduct emergency staff meetings. A scathing state review subsequently rejected the camp's updated emergency plan, identifying 22 critical deficiencies, including a lack of evacuation maps. Families of the victims have initiated multiple lawsuits alleging neglect and are working to preserve the site for evidence. The camp currently faces intense scrutiny regarding its safety protocols and the feasibility of its planned reopening. You can read the full investigation details at fox7austin.com.
Y en noticias desde Nuevo Mexicaslan, after 43 years, the Gathering of Nations, North America's largest powwow, concluded its final event in Burque on April 25th, 2026. Amid bittersweet emotions, the last dance brought together over 700 indigenous tribes for traditional music and dance competitions. Organizers decided to end the tradition due to the massive scale of the event and plans for retirement, stating it had become too large to manage effectively. While attendees felt the loss, many emphasized that indigenous community and culture will continue to thrive elsewhere. The event's conclusion creates a significant economic impact, having previously generated roughly $30 million annually for the region. Read the full story at abqjournal.com.
And finally, in other news, desde Colorazlan, Western Colorado University is repatriating the remains of dozens of Native Americans and various indigenous artifacts held in its Hearst Museum for nearly a century. The university finalized a major milestone by publishing a Notice of Inventory Completion in the Federal Register, complying with legal requirements under the NAGPRA. The remains, primarily from the Four Corners region, were identified with input from elders representing the Southern Ute, Ute Mountain Ute, and Pueblo of Zia tribes. An $81,000 grant received in 2023 facilitated the proper identification and cataloging of these items, which has remained in storage for years. Reinterment has planned for this fall on public land in an event coordinated by regional tribes and the Bureau of Reclamation. For more details, visit kkco11news.com.
And now, eventos en Aztlán.
Greetings, dear listeners, and welcome to Tales from Aztlantis, the podcast where we take you on a journey through Chicano, Mexicano, and Mesoamerican history and archaeology, and along the way, we challenge pseudo-historical distortions and confront the disinformation that too often surrounds these very topics. We are your hosts, Curly Tlapoyawa.
And Ruben Ariano Tlacatecat.
For our peeps here in New Mexico, well, probably Albuquerque and surrounding areas, if you were so interested in making the trip, this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., your boy will be present at Skepticamp, New Mexico 2026.
Skepticamp. Now, that sounds like a cool event.
You know what? I did the last one, and it was freaking awesome. I really enjoyed it. I got to meet some really cool people. Brian Dunning was there presenting of Skeptoid podcast, was there presenting his documentary, and Ben Radford gave a talk. And
is that the one about cool. The things that they don't want you to know?
Yeah, the UFO movie that they don't want you to see.
That's it. Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. Got to meet great people. A lot of folks from the New Mexicans for Science and Reason were there. And the next one is this Saturday. It's going to be taking place at 1634 University Boulevard. For those here in town, that is the UNM Continuing Ed building. It's going to be a cool event. There's going to be lots of speakers, including yours truly. I will be giving a talk on New Mexico's Hispano population myth and the reasons why so many folks in New Mexico are absolutely convinced that they descend from conquistadors instead of their true mixed blood indigenous cultural inheritance. And there's going to be a good lineup of speakers. It's May 2nd, this Saturday, like I said. We're going to have Mark Boslow, a physicist and space impact expert. He's going to be talking about the claims of ancient asteroid impacts. We're going to have Suzanne Gerbic, founder of the Gorilla Skeptics on Wikipedia. And she's going to be talking about how professional psychics employ a technique called cold reading to manipulate their audiences.
Right.
Melanie Tresick King, the author of A Field Guide to Spotting Misinformation, will be giving a talk. I will be giving a talk. This one sounds really interesting. David Weinberg, professor of ophthalmology, will be discussing the bizarre practice called eating the sun.
Eating the sun.
Yeah. I'm curious. That's piqued my interest. Yeah.
Is that
friend
the
of the
opposite
show?
of shooting the moon?
Yeah, right? Shoot for the moon, eat the sun.
Eat the sun.
Friend of the show, Benjamin Radford, will be talking about the Pachacamac mystery of Peru. Matthew Lee Loftus, who also goes by The Credible Hulk, will be talking about public pushback against scientific consensus. Ruth Fraser will discuss the legacy of her late husband, Ken Fraser, the longtime editor of Skeptical Inquirer. And Dave Thomas, who's just a really all-around cool
From
guy.
Wendy's?
Yeah, that's what everybody says. He's an adjunct professor at New Mexico Tech. He is going to be talking about the flat Earth movement.
That's the segue right there.
That's the segue. The event is absolutely free. There is no need to pre-register. Just show up and walk in.
Yeah.
And for those that are interested, Sunday, the next day, we will be running a little field trip to the Los Lunas Mystery Stone,
which we've talked about on the show.
Yeah, we've discussed it here on the podcast. And Dave Thomas, Ben Radford, and I, and Michelle was there. There was a small group of people. About a month ago, we went out, did some pre-scouting for this field trip, and we went out and located the Mystery Stone and just talked about its origins.
Yeah. So it's not really that hidden, right? It's something that I remember from the show that you can get to it, but it's not like you have to want to go see it, right? It's not like right off of the road or something.
Exactly. Right? It's more of a drive than a hike. So you've got to want to drive to Hidden Mountain.
Right.
And then it's a short hike.
Now let me ask you this: is it like the what's the name of that church in Chimayo where they have the magic dirt? So is
the santuario?
The santuario. Is it some kind of thing with the Los Lunas stone where you can like chip off like a little piece of it?
Don't suggest.
Oh
that.
No, I'm sorry.
That'd be terrible. But you can collect dirt there, I'm sure. You can get a little vial of magic, ancient Hebrew dirt.
It's not the same.
And what's cool about the stone, though, is it's surrounded on two sides by rocks that have actual petroglyphs.
Ooh. So you want to protect those.
You want to protect those.
Are they protected?
I mean, insofar as anything could be protected when it's out of sight and people go hiking to it. Yeah. But when we went, we didn't know exactly because the directions are on the website are really poorly written and they're not very clear. And so the descriptions they give, I swear, they're like, walk 50 feet until you come to a rock that looks like a hedgehog.
What?
And then turn left at the rock that looks like a lizard. It's like, who the fuck wrote this? So we wound up taking this way too long side excursion to try to get there. It wasn't a bad hike. It turned out to be a pretty enjoyable hike.
See, that's the trick. The trick is to get you to go hiking. That's the whole point.
There you go. It's very clever. Very clever.
But it's accessible, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's easy to get to. So if you want to go check it out, it's very short. You don't have to worry about, you know, being in great shape to go on
Now,
this long,
is
arduous
this an
hike.
invitation for the public to come out?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully people who are interested will come to Skepticamp, and while they're at Skepticamp, we'll tell you the
or caravan out there, maybe.
Yeah, well, we'll tell you the time and the location to meet everybody to caravan out there.
Mm-hmm.
So it should be fun. I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, it's the ad for it says cold readings, political pseudoscience, New Mexico mysteries, comet crazies, and eating the sun. But should be fun.
Favorite pastimes of the land of enchantment, right?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So if you want to come, once again, it's at the Continuing Ed building. It's at the North building in room 123. I'm sure there'll be signs up and stuff to help you get there. It starts at 10 a.m. and it runs until 6 p.m. So even if you could just drop by for a little bit, we'd love to see you.
Cool.
It broaden your skeptical horizons and sharpen those skills of discernment.
Discern away, sir. Discern away.
At Valley Refresh, Second Nature is going to bring a communal art piece where you can express yourself with or without words and connect to your inner child.
So come join us at Valley Refresh, happening right here at Midnight Hour Records.
On May 3rd from 1 to 4 p.m. Hi, my name is Delaney, and I am the Director of Outreach.
My name is Matthew. I'm the Creative Director, and we are
Second Nature Collective.
Second Nature Collective is a pop-up third space where wellness meets activism, and we always seek to reconnect people back to themselves, each other, and to Mother Nature.
You better be here.
See you there.
This event takes place at midnight hour in the San Fernando Valley in Los Angeles County, Califas. Address 1101 San Fernando Road, San Fer, Califaslan, 91340.
Hi, I'm Gabe Rivas Gomez, and I wrote Level Up. Level Up is the story of a trans tween named Desi who goes on an adventure in a virtual world to save her dying dog. In going on this adventure, learns that she needs to find a way to survive both in the virtual and in the real world. And it felt important to me to write this story with this character being the focus because so much of what we are seeing in the media today is dehumanizing to gay, lesbian, trans, queer people. And when moments like this throughout history, I think it's really vitally important that we find ways to tell stories that rehumanize the people that are being dehumanized. My hope for this play is that as young people come to see it, that they feel seen, that they see a piece of themselves on stage. Come see Level Up at the LATC. Get your tickets, bring your families, bring your kids, bring your older people.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Yo soy Felicia con Mujeres de Maíz y yo soy la directora y una de las cofundadoras de la organización. Es una organización de la comunidad del este de Los Ángeles de puras mujeres de color de diferentes edades y comunidades y lo que apreciamos es diferentes cosas como arte y activismo y también bienestar. Queremos invitarles a esa La Cultura Cura Feria de Bienestar que va a ser el 9 de mayo, un sábado de 10 a 4. Es todo gratis y gratuito. Vamos a tener diferentes sesiones de bienestar, recursos, información, presentaciones y pláticas. Todo en español y todo para nuestra comunidad. Vénganse. Muchas gracias. Cualquier información se puede dar en mujeresdemaíz.com y está patrocinado por Take Action LA. Muchas gracias. Nos vemos.
Y un evento en San Diego, Califaslan, Aztlan Libre announces save the date, May 9th. It's our 7th annual Chicana art exhibition and poetry, and we're ready to celebrate. This effort began in 2012 at The Spot, located on Main Street in Barrio Logan. The second flyer is the original flyer we used to come together and honor Chicana Arte. Join us as we come together to celebrate our Madrecitas and continue to uplift Chicana Arte. When? May 9th, 2 to 8 p.m. Where? Aztlán Libre Galería Mestizaje. 2076 Logan Ave, San Diego, Califas 92113. For more info, visit their Instagram page by searching Aztlán Libre.
Y un evento desde Arizona Aztlán. Palabras Bookstore desde Phoenix, Arizona announces Meet the Voice Behind Migrant Heart. Join Bilingual Press Thursday, May 28th for the live conversation with Reina Grande and Ofelia Montelongo at the ASU Art Museum, a powerful night of storytelling, identifying, and memory you will not want to miss. Doors open 5:30 p.m. for a 6 p.m. start, and the event is free to attend for all. RSVP at hrc.asu.edu.
And an event desde Nuevo Mexico Aztlán that Tewa Women United announced on Friday, May 8th. Come join us for a nourishing and educational afternoon. Schedule 11:30 a.m. to noon, optional. Contracted doulas meet with YVK doula coordinator. 12 noon, lunch will be provided. 1 p.m. to 5 p.m., Introduction to Therapeutic Touch with Cordy Anderson, BSN RN, QTT, she, her. Learn simple hands-on practices to sense and support the human energy field for yourself and those you care for, especially for doulas and midwives seeking to deepen grounded, compassionate care. 5 to 5:30 p.m. closing circle. For more info, email vicky@tewawomenunited.org. Y un evento in Denver, Colorado Aztlán, the Denver University Native Student Alliance announces, join us May 3rd for the New Beginnings Powwow, a day full of dance, culture, and community. Bring your people and come celebrate with us. The New Beginnings Powwow started almost 15 years ago, stemming from our Native American Student Alliance Board. Our powwow's mission is to bring community healing, preserve culture in an urban setting, and celebrate Indigenous expression and identity. This comes in the form of dancing, singing, contest ceremonies, in which all has brought our community together, forming a deeper connection to one another and our culture. This powwow brings encouragement, healing, and provides welcoming environment that is an opportunity to learn and practice culture. Our powwow is meant to ensure cultural enrichment and resilience while giving back to the community it was built on. This event will take place Sunday, May 3rd, 2026, 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. MDT. Where? Campus Green, 2055 East Evans Avenue, University of Denver, Denver, Colorado Aztlán. For more information, visit their Instagram page, search nsa.du.
We'll be right back after a word from our contributors.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
I'm Scott Russell Duncan, a Chicano writer, editor, and AztlanWeekly reporter with the widest name. AztlanWeekly is produced in association with Maíz Poppin' Press, where we publish radical imagination and resistance writing that pops. Visit maizpoppin.com. We're also in association with the Palabras del Pueblo Writing Workshop, an affordable and accessible online workshop that centers La Raza and strengthens our own literary institutions. Writing that speaks to our community first and loudest. See more at palabrasdelpueblo.com.
What's up, familia? If you're looking for a space that celebrates powerful storytelling, community, and culture, the Brown Book Club is where you need to be. Since 2020, we've been building a community centered on Latina, Latino, Chicana, Chicano, and Indigenous voices, uplifting stories that reflect who we are, where we come from, and where we're going. We don't just read these books, we connect with the authors behind them. Through the Brown Book Club podcast, we've had real conversations with incredible writers, diving deeper into their stories, their process, and their lived experiences. This is more than a book club. It's community, it's culture, it's conversation. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Just search the Brown Book Club and tap in.
Okay, so let's say you've got the Mexica calendar for the upcoming year, Se Tochtli, and you want to know a little bit more about the philosophy and worldview associated with the ancestral calendar system. Or maybe you're curious about the individual feasts that are held in connection with each of the months. Well, dear listeners, I've got you covered, because my new book, Never Will It Be Lost, is now available. It features beautiful cover art provided by the amazing artist Mi Corazón Mexica, and it's packed with full-color images from the codices. In it, I go over each of the monthly feasts, and I provide some guidance and suggestions on how these feasts can be celebrated today. I also go into the Mexica worldview, cosmovision, and philosophy, and I talk about how we, as modern-day Mesoamerican descendants, can connect with and actualize this philosophy in the modern world. I'm super proud of this book. Again, it's called Never Will It Be Lost: Ritual, Remembrance, and the Aztec Calendar by yours truly, Curly Tlapoyawa. And if you order it using the link in the show notes, you get $5 off. So if you want to support independent, indigenous Chicano media, please consider picking it up. Tlascamati Timoitase.
And now, Aztlan Weekly presents Where in Aztlan is Scott?
We interrupt this program for a special news bulletin.
Tell me where in
Aztlan. Where in Aztlan is.
tell me where in
Aztlan. Where in Aztlan
is Scott!
I'm Scott Russell Duncan, Chicano writer and editor with the widest name. And this is Where in Aztlan is Scott? And to help me with that question today is Francisco Lopez. He's in San Diego, my old hometown, at Chicano Park. Let's listen in.
What's up, raza? This is your boy Maestro Lopez here at Chicano Park, celebrating another year of Chicano unity, of Chicano pride, of Chicano organization, to celebrate who we are, the people of the Americas, the originals, the ones that cannot be broken. Raza. Here we are, Chicano Park. We have dancers, Aztec dancers gathering around right now. As you can hear from the music, we have a song group playing, the paleteros walking by, and the ramplas are all lined up across the street here under Chicano Park on a beautiful San Diego sunny day. Raza, unite, organize, think about it, stand up for yourself and take some pride. What's up, raza? Here at Chicano Park, we got mad crowds of people, right, gathered all around the main stage here under Chicano Park. The Santas have been doing their danzas. It's just going on. Let's see if the music comes on here shortly once again. Thumbs are beating. Very interesting to see that everybody surrounds the danzantes, right? It truly is an integral part of the culture, the cultura, which people, we understand where we come from. We understand who we are. And people continue to embrace and look for it. Those roots from thousands of years ago continue to speak to us. As you hear the silbato, the voices, the abuelos, they continue to speak to us. Indeed, Raza. Que viva! Here we are in Chicano Park on this beautiful sunny San Diego day, getting ready to raise the Chicano flag. Listen to it, Raza.
Just sit down and watch the sun go down. Where all the familias can come and just get together on a Sunday afternoon and celebrate the spirit of life itself. But the city of San Diego said, Charlie, we're going to make a highway patrol substation here. So on April the 22nd, 1970, La Raza of Urban Heights into the Chicano
Brown Berets are walking in, right? Directing, holding security here. And we're going around under the Coronado Bridge. Exactly. About to raise the Chicano flag. If you've been here at the Chicano Park, you know where the flag post is, right next to the statue of Zapata, right between the two bridges going towards Coronado. A good day to be Chicano. What's up, Raza? Here we are down here at Chicano Park. As you can hear, the danzantes are right now making their exit out after continuous time of dancing for approximately more than an hour. The ancestors are calling, Raza. Make sure you answer their call. The ancestors are calling.
I want to thank Francisco Lopez for going to San Diego at Chicano Park on Chicano Park Day and sharing those amazing sounds. Remember, Raza, those sounds are the sounds of us. And this has been We're in Aztlan is Scott, and stay tuned for more Aztlan Weekly programming.
Aztlan is where in Aztlan is tell me where in Aztlan is where in Aztlan is Scott. Yeah.
Now we return you to our regular scheduled program.
And now Aztlan Weekly presents Maestro Speaks con Rafael Avitia.
What's up, gente? What's up, raza? Hey, May Day, Primero de Mayo, that is usually on May 1st. And why is this important for raza, for Chicanos, for all indigenous people, no matter where you are all over the world, indigenous or not, wherever you're indigenous to, if you're a worker, if you're a laborer, if you are not one of the 1%, the wealthiest people on earth, or even a millionaire, then you definitely should take interest in this, because Raza has been working forever in the fields. Our gente have been working in hotels, have been working in factories and food service. A lot of them, oftentimes, yes, undocumented, not because of choice, but because of the structure, the racist structure that we have today in place, that keeps people from migrating and going back and forth if they want to work. And unfortunately, they get exploited as workers. And so, if there was ever a date for us as razas Chicanos to recognize, it is May Day. It is Primero de Mayo. This is something, and ironically, that's celebrated all over the world. And yet, it started here in the United States, believe it or not, here in Chicago, of all places. Very strongly known for its workers. Back then, they had a lot of packing houses, a lot of slaughterhouses. This goes back to the 1800s, when people were being exploited, and workers decided to stand up. In Chicago, Illinois, where here in the United States of America, of all places, right? And yet we don't celebrate it. We don't recognize it. They recognize this in Mexico. They recognize it in Russia, Germany, Africa. And yet here you don't, right? That's a problem. That's a huge problem. So, Raza, I'm gonna give you some quick reasons why we need to recognize this day if we can. I know not everybody, can protest, boycott, and say not show up to work. That's a luxury not many people, especially Raza, indigenous Raza working in the fields or in factories, don't have. We don't have that luxury. But if you're able to get out there on May 1st, which happens to fall on Friday, which is Friday this year, join them, join gente, rallies, marches, because it's more than just taking to the streets and chanting, for worker rights or in support of Raza. It's more than that. It's also reaffirming that workers are important, reaffirming and recognizing that we need to respect los trabajadores, the workers out there, the ones to do the hardest of the hardest work, whether they're in the fields, packing houses, whether in hotel rooms, cleaning up people's rooms, or raising your kids. By the way, if you happen to be one of the Trumpsters or one of the rich people out there, oftentimes your nannies happen to be underpaid, or maybe they happen to be from another country. So this is the day to recognize the workers. One last point I want to make as to why we should recognize this, because a lot of people tend to say, well, you're just preaching that communism stuff. Well, if you know me, that's not what we're preaching here. We are Raza Chicana. We do believe that there's much better economic systems than capitalism, which, by the way, that's why May 1st started as well, because capitalism exploits workers. It brainwashes other workers and other raza to think, oh no, I'm going to get rich. I'm going to get rich just like Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk. And that's a fantasy. That is not true. Capitalism, though, keeps you stupid, believing that you're going to be one of those people. So you keep working to the point that you go against your own raza, your own co-workers, and you may laugh at them, right? So hopefully you're not one of those individuals, because the economic system that's got us all backwards is capitalism. The truth is, socialism, it does, and there were a lot of socialists and communists involved, and anarchists. I'm going to give everybody credit here in the labor movement during especially the 30s and throughout the world, because they recognize the inequality and the imbalance of power between worker and owner, right? The factory owners. So the importance of May Day is more than just marching. Importance of May Day is more than just chanting, definitely rallying, but get out there and recognize the workers, because if there was ever a time to do a work stoppage, that means strike, refusing to work, make demands, and protest. That would be, for example, like boycotting, not buying the product, or boycotting a store or a product or a company. This is the time now, because this world is coming apart with the clown in the White House. This world is unfortunately in a bad state, And if anybody needed to be recognized today, son los trabajadores. And with that, I'm out. Que viva la raza. All power to the people. Aho.
For more from Maestro Avitia, visit his YouTube page by searching Maestro Avitia, Avitia. And now we bring you Aztlan y Más, porque we bring Aztlan with us everywhere we go.
Hello, this is Alejandro Valles with Aztlan y Más, porque we bring Aztlan with us everywhere we go. And today, aquí in Nueva York, I'm here with someone repping Jersey with Raíces Oaxaqueñas. Thank you, Little Luis, for joining me today, bro. I just want to start off by asking you, where in Jersey did you grow up, and what part of Oaxaca is your family from?
Okay. So in Jersey, I'm mostly Central Jersey, south to Jersey Shore. It's the first town in Monmouth County. It's this little town called Keyport, 1 square mile. That's where I went to high school. That's where I started 8th grade and then finished high school from. I lived in the town over, in in Cliffwood, but then I moved to Keyport. So that's where I consider my roots are Keyport. Where my family is from, they're from Oaxaca, like you mentioned. They're from a small pueblo called Socotiaca de León. It's in La Sierra. It's up in the mountains. You could say it's a costeño town. So you could say I'm from the Costa Chica. And I've been a couple times, and beautiful place.
Cool. So would you say that like the vibe, the overall vibe of where you grew up, like the Mexican people, like did they put you on to how it is in Mexico, or like did they remind you of some cultural icons? Like how did that go, or was it all, like just basically nose to the grindstone type thing? We have to go to work.
For me, if I just felt like everyday life, I didn't realize how ingrained in the culture I was, because I'm first generation. My parents came here when they were in their 20s, but they speak, speak basic English, but in my house we always speak Spanish, right? And my dad is really like kind of like a man's man, right? Like I hope to be a man like him one day. But to that end, he's really big on culture, knowing where you're from. He even he doesn't even play that like speaking English. Like he can obviously speak it, but he makes us greet in Spanish, talk in Spanish. When I see my aunts and uncles, he's big. He's like all the old school shit of make sure you greet every single person, hermano tío, all that type of stuff. So the music they listen to, the food we eat, the pictures in the house, everything is just about Oaxaca and Mexico. So to me, it was just like everyday life. Yeah, my pops and my mom both because there's other families sometimes we run into, and like the kids don't know anything about Spanish, or try to act like they don't know Spanish or whatnot, like on purpose, right? Not out of just not knowing, but on purpose. And they would really nail into our head like you can't be like that, and so it was enforced. But it's good. I'm glad. The pueblo that we come from is, it's old. It's an old pueblo, but it's not one of the really older ones that has that sort of history.
What's something people don't understand about Oaxacan culture?
I think people are starting to get around to Oaxacan culture. For the longest, I didn't face it that much, but I see social media for the longest. Oaxacans were kind of looked down upon as short, dark skin, Indios, Mexicans. So we'd kind of get with the butt of the joke, they want to make fun of somebody. They'd be like, oh, you look like you're from Oaxaca or whatever. I think that sort of is changing nowadays. A lot of what makes Mexico iconic comes from the state of Oaxaca. So I think it's slowly changing. And I think people are starting to get around how important Oaxaca is to Mexico.
So did you ever get to witness one of the extravagant Oaxacan weddings that they do there?
Yeah, it is amazing. So I've been to Oaxaca City a couple of times, and in the city there's a big church, and luckily I've been there. There's weddings all the time, so when I've been there, I've seen them parade through the streets, like the whole family, and they have big balloons. Is dancing is beautiful. So I've got to see that. Yeah,
that's cool. I want to see that in person.
Yeah, me too. I mean, we're wedding like that one day.
Yeah. Do you see any of those happening in New York, really, or not so much?
No, I mean I haven't seen anything like that in New York so far. I haven't been really invited to too many. Like I haven't been to like a New York Mexican family type party. So in Jersey, I used to go to all those all the time. But New York, I don't know that many people where I would get invited to something like that.
What's how would you say that what traditions do you keep every day in your everyday life, like from your family? I know that we had like our own interview, and you and like even now you were saying that a lot of what your father instilled in you, like just basically respect. Like I'm sure when you see like other like Mexicanos or wherever, you say buenos tardes, like buenos dias, buenos noches. Is that something that you would say you carry?
Greetings, respect to your elders, that type of just respect stuff is the biggest thing I guess I would carry in tradition. I would carry.
Why you think in New York it's like frowned upon to say hello? Do you think that do people probably light up though when you say it, right? Especially to just random people.
The Mexicans they light up when you say that around here. So it's good. But, in New York, you say that to just random people, you might get into a fight. You can't even look at somebody in New York sometimes.
And then I have another last question basically. So we went and we saw the beautiful, amazing Chingon statue of Benito Juarez in New York City together, and he's from Oaxaca. He shares identities with both of us. He's also an adoptee who he he has a long history that people should really check him out as a Mexicano icon. He fought for a lot of rights for the people. He was well known, and this gift was given to New York City. What kind of feelings did you get from that?
Yeah, it made me feel pride. First thing I did was take a picture and I sent it to my family, because I know how much that means to them too. And they immediately asked, like, whoa, where's that statue? Because, he's somebody from Oaxaca. He's somebody that made it from humble beginnings and did a lot. So it made me feel a lot of pride to see somebody like that represents us.
Yeah, it's about we have multiple cultural icons who represent Mexicanos, where our culture is so strong that it won't wash away with any amount of trying to disperse us. So viva la raza, bro. And this is Alejandro Valles with Aztlan y Más, porque we bring Aztlan with us everywhere we go. Thank you, Luis, for your time, bro.
Yes, sir, no problem.
And now Aztlan Weekly presenta Humanidad Behind Bars.
There are stories we've been taught to simplify, to reduce people to a moment, a charge, a label. But step inside county with me, and you'll find something far more complex. You'll find people thinking, questioning, and still becoming. This is Humanidad Behind Bars with Profe Melanie Baru. This week I've been contemplating the power of the need to bear witness, someone to bear witness of our existence. And also paralleled with a sense of community, being seen, and that for someone that we respect or someone that we care about to be proud of us. I'm always humbled by my experiences in county. And I had this moment recently where the students that I was teaching the college course in county, they had an end of the completion ceremony where the sheriff's office is having anyone that took part in programming would receive a certificate of completion. Family would come and visit that were approved. And there was a little ceremony of, giving them credit for the work that they've done. And so that was approaching. And at the end of my class, there is a Chicano brother who is like a bit uncomfortable. He wants to ask me something, and I can see by his body language he's trying to find the words. And he's like, "Oh, profe, it has like this deep Chicano accent, and he's like, at that ceremony that's gonna happen. I was like, yeah. And he was like, like what happens if like, that like for the folks that don't have families, like what happens if like, for the folks that no one shows up for them. You think maybe Mr. Lujan and you, Miss Peru, you think you can kind of step in for them? You think that'd be cool? And I know his backstory, and I know that he's former foster youth. He's a grown man, right? He's a grown man, but he came from the foster care system. And so I knew he was talking about himself. And I said, of course, so-and-so, of course, no doubt. I was like, you know what? I was like, we're going to be there for you. We're going to be there for everyone. And we're going to take pictures together. And he was, oh, that's Firme. That's Firme. Oh yeah. I was just asking, cause not everybody has their family that can come or doesn't have family. And I said, well, regardless if people have family or not, we're there for you. Me and Mr. Lujan, we'll be there for everybody. We're not even going to wait for you to all ask us to take pictures with you. We're just going to take pictures with you all. Oh, that's Firme. That's Firme. Okay. I was just checking. And, I like kind of smile inside. And afterwards, like I paused and I reflected on that experience. And my heart ached, like it ached. There's so many people that don't have someone that they love and respect, and either they call them family or chosen biological family or chosen family, to show up for them in moments where they want someone to be proud of them. They want a community. They want family. They want someone to bear witness to their existence and be proud of them. And in those instances, we can be those people for others, right? We can be chosen family. We can also do it with grace and with love and care. And I knew that was a difficult thing for him to bring up. And so I kind of just, downplayed it on purpose. And the day came and we were there and, we initiated, we waved to him in the audience and, we told him how proud we were of him, and with him and others, we took pictures and we initiated the pictures. Of course, those were approved through the actual sheriff's office and with their photographer. And so it just makes me think of like the importance that we want someone to see our existence and that our existence matters, and we want someone to be proud of us. And so I encourage you all to also extend yourself to a loved one that may not have biological family that can bear witness to moments in their life that they're proud of. Thank you so much. This is Humanidad Behind Bars.
That was our camarada La Profa Chicana Melanie with the Rising Scholars Network. For more, search Insta for Chicana_Mel. That's Chicana with an X. And for more info about the Rising Scholars Network, visit their website, risingscholarsnetwork.org.
And now AztlanWeekly presenta Palabra.
Hello, my name is Angela Acosta, and I am a speculative writer currently living in South Carolina. I'll be reading from my short story, May We Be Named, in Codex 1 of the Chicanx Futurism Gritos for Tomorrow anthology, which is available now through Ride of Roses Press. I'm an assistant professor of Spanish at the University of South Carolina. My Riesling and Utopia Award-nominated writing has appeared in Somos en Escrito, Apparition Lit, Radon Journal, and Space and Time. I'm also the author of A Belief in Cosmic Dailiness with Red Ogre Review. This is May We Be Named. Humanity's voyagers always came in ships, back when Sol was the closest star and home stayed within the ecliptic. They came from places no longer shown on star charts that now guided them towards lands where Terra would be but a distant memory. With skin colored from equatorial sunbeams and languages forged from centuries of cultural contact and strife, they were ready when the exodus finally occurred, and generation ships whisked them away across a sea wider than the Atlantic. Marcella tore her eyes from the screen that displayed the full weight of generations of shipborne ancestors when a thin stream of light coming from the hallway alerted her to Zamora's presence. "¿Tienes chisme?" Zamora asked, sauntering into the room like only a little sister could. Marcella relaxed her stiff shoulders and let out a breath she didn't realize she was holding in. She tracked enough of the Gamma lineage for this wake cycle. With the lights back on, she started reshuffling the notes she printed out on carbon copies that littered her desk. "Yeah, it turns out they meant to put you on the Calabaza ship and got the paperwork mixed up," Marcella smirked, waving one of her notes in the air. "No way, you know I can't even cook frijoles right. I don't belong on a restaurant ship. Unless, I got to be the engineer and eat up all of those delicacies." "You wish," Marcella nudged Zamora with her elbow. "So, any progress today?" 5 generations of lineage Gamma from 3 centuries ago found in the data set by laser from the Pre-Romano ship. "No está mal." Marcella shrugged and looked back at the data in front of her. She continued, "It's strange, really. There seem to be fewer lineages than active ships. I can't find us in all the data. Even Tia Flora gave up ages ago on this project." "¿A qué te refieres con lo de find us? I thought this was about the ancestry of the whole fleet. What do we have to do with anything? What does our ship's history matter?" "It means everything. I know I'm supposed to be collaborating on this project for the good of the fleet, but I've been doing some research on the side. But they're always telling us that we're all siblings and that race doesn't exist anymore, that we're all Homo sapiens, somos de la raza cósmica, literalmente. Pues ya lo sé, pero es un mito, uno de esos que vinieron con los primeros cohetes." Having just finished her own school lessons for the day, including a lecture on how the old ways no longer applied, Zamora was utterly perplexed. She perched herself on a free corner of Marcella's desk and took a closer look at the branches of the family tree, thinning out as they got closer to the present moment of year 534 of the Exodus. "Mira, Zamora, where is our family in this?" Marcella zoomed into a patch only a few years removed from Zamora's birth year, in year 523. "It doesn't matter. Humor me." "¿A quién le importa? Pues a nosotras, a todos los del arbolito." Look, before I crunched in the data for Gamma lineage, I already noticed some irregularities from the beginning. They're telling us we're doing something meaningful by putting together these lineages, that it's for the good of the fleet and our history. It's just busy work, Zamora. Fine. I don't know who all our family is, but Marcella, tengo hambre. Can we please go to the mess hall now? I heard Tío Jose is making pupusas and I want one that isn't spicy. Ya vamos, but I still want to learn more about this. Maybe I can bug Tia Flora about the genealogy research after dinner. Sure enough, Zamora piled her plate high with pupusas and maize, freshly made from their onboard hydroponics garden. Marcella, ever apprehensive about her research, took a smaller portion of food and joined the other kids and teenagers huddled round a game of dominoes made from scrap cardboard. Marcella enjoyed the camaraderie, but couldn't wait to finally talk to some adults. For some reason, they always stayed quiet about what they knew of their families, and though they praised her for her research, they never asked many questions or gave her any good leads. She always had to look elsewhere, like taking chances asking the Pre-Romano ship with a complicated array of laser networks to reach them 5 light years away. Tia Flora was watching her favorite 0G handball game and knitting. Approach with caution, Marcella thought to herself. She sat herself next to her only biological aunt and engaged in the requisite small talk. By the second half of the game, Marcella had steeled herself for the conversation. Tia, I've been doing a lot of work on the lineage, and I don't need to bore you with it, but... Mija, I'm glad you're doing that research project but it doesn't interest me anymore. What you're doing, hunting down lineage Omega or something? I'm working on lineage Gamma now, actually. I have 5 more generations worked out. In fact, I've already sorted out adopted and biological parents and have some diagrams for the research team I'm going to send by laser tomorrow. Marcela needed to stop herself before she lost sight of what she came to talk to her aunt about. Tia Flora had already focused back on the game, the clinking of the knitting needles in sync with the pace of the game. Sorry. Force of habit. Tia Flora, I want you to tell me about us. ¿Quiénes somos los del arbolito? ¿De dónde venimos? Tia Flora finally perked up and cracked a smile. It took you 17 years to ask me that, eh? It took my friend Adriana over 20, and she quickly became disinterested again. Marcela relaxed in her chair and tucked herself into the story Tia Flora was inevitably going to launch into. Tia Flora switched to Spanish, as she was wont to do when talking about the past, but her tone of voice changed and it was as if she saw herself somewhere else. The youth proudly tout the fact that the past is light minutes away and wholly unreachable, while elders grieve the chasm of memories. Hace ya 30 años que Adriana me preguntó sobre nuestros antepasados. Y, a pesar de la falta de información que tenía, yo sabía que había que compartirla con cualquier persona que tenía el mismísimo deseo. Me imagino que hasta la Zamorita sabe recitar las historias oficiales de quiénes somos, ¿cierto? Marcela smiled. Justamente me las estaba contando según lo que iba aprendiendo en la escuela. Pues, la Adriana me dijo una frase que nunca jamás saldrá de mi mente. Me dijo, basta con esas historias del éxodo, con las ramas de los árboles, y que I don't want to your tender history. Give me the truth. So I did. Tender history, huh? Is it though? Now that I really think about it, es un cuento de hadas. I've always wondered about the data, how the data was received on these family trees, and why I couldn't find myself on them. You know, I always thought I was different for asking about my own heritage, but there's something that they're not telling us, and it's going to be bittersweet. And if you'd like to hear more, please read the first codex of the Chicanx Futurism Anthology.
And now AztlanWeekly presenta Hablas Nahuatl featuring Pakilistli.
Galino Yolikniwan, you may be wondering how to count past the number 20 in Nahuatl. As you may know, Nahuatl is based on the number 20, so Sempowali literally means one count. After Sempowali, we have Ompowali, Eshpowali, Nahpowali, Maquilpowali, Chiquasempowali, Chicompowali, Chiqueshpowali, Chicnahpowali, Mahtlacpowali, Mahtlacliwansempowali, Mahtlacliwanompowali, Mahtlacliwaneshpowali, Mahtlacliwanahpowali, Caxtolpowali, Caxtoliwansempowali, Caxtoliwanompowali, Caxtoliwaneshpowali, Caxtoliwanahpowali, and finally we have Sensontli, or 400. 20 times 20, Sensontli. Now you know how to count past 20 in Nahuatl.
That was our hermano, Pakilistli. For more info from him, search Pakilistli on Instagram. You can also find him on YouTube by searching the same name. And now AztlanWeekly presenta Pa' que sepan.
I've had several people come into my DMs asking me, why haven't I talked about the Ashley thing yet? For those that don't know, Ashley is a bigoted Latina who went on an extremely anti-Black rant using the N-word with the hard ER. So, this is how I'm going to address this, because honestly, I'm fucking exhausted. For those of you that pay attention to the people of the internet and not just your own little echo chambers, there is a pattern that happens every few months between marginalized communities of color. You'll get a person, pick a community of color, doesn't matter who goes on some bigoted ass rant. And it goes viral. Then the community that the person is in and the community that's the victim of the rant starts to fight. Which then leads to everybody displaying their fucking ignorance towards each other. And then the double standards and the hypocrisy starts. Now, the community that was victims of the rant wants the other community to hold that person accountable. Here's the thing. We live in a society that doesn't even know what accountability is. See, you've all been told that you can hold other people accountable, but that's the lie. You cannot hold anybody accountable that isn't willing to hold themselves accountable first. And most people aren't willing to hold themselves accountable. And that's ingrained into us since we're little kids. When we see our parents start punishing us for things that they should have taught us but didn't, and don't hold themselves accountable for not teaching us, and instead blaming us for something we didn't know. And it goes all the way into our so-called justice system. See, our justice system isn't about holding people accountable. It's about punishing people. So you guys don't actually want to hold anybody accountable. You just want to punish them for their behavior. And that really does nothing but continues to breed bad behavior. And that extends into our politicians. See, instead of actually holding your politicians accountable, you continue to vote them into office. And at this time, all of you motherfuckers can plead insanity because you keep doing the same thing over and over again and keep voting in the same people over and over again, expecting different results, but never getting them. And none of you guys want to hold yourselves accountable for continuing to keep the system going and continuing to perpetuate the white supremacy you guys all claim to fucking hate. See, white people aren't the only ones who have to deal with their ignorances when it comes to race. All of us do. White people are the only ones who benefit from a racist system, but they have been colonized just like all of you. They have been indoctrinated. They have been propagandized. They have been assimilated just like all of you. All the shit that white people learn about race is all the shit you all learn about race. Every community has people who are xenophobic, who are transphobic, who are homophobic, who are anti-black, who are anti-Native American, who are anti-Asian, who are misogynist, and who are colorists. Here's the honest to God fucking truth. You can't point the finger at white people, and you can't point the finger at other marginalized communities of color that have done something wrong to you if you're not willing to point the finger at your fucking selves. You can't preach shit without practicing it. If you don't watch it, you will become the next oppressor, because that's how the cycle of oppression works. What's crazy is they manufacture all this fucking division. They'll make certain shit go viral to cause discourse. They create further division. We're sitting here willing to fight each other over that shit. But here's the truth. Y'all ain't as fucking tough as you think you are. You're weak as fuck if you have to fight each other. And if you're willing to fight each other. And that's because y'all are scared. Y'all are scared to fight the oppressors that manufacture the division that got y'all fighting happily against each other. Just a bunch of clowns in the fucking circus. Could keep playing into the bullshit and the division, or you could focus your energy on rebuilding your communities and decolonizing, and not on some superficial shit either, on some deep level shit. Y'all remember that video that went around with the can opener and we were all fucking using the can opener wrong? And then we were all saying, damn, felt like I've been lied to my whole life. This is how we were supposed to be using the can opener and it's easier? Even though we found humor in it, we all felt a certain way about it because we literally all felt like, damn, we've been lied to our whole goddamn life. Now take that and apply that to your identity. And when you recognize that your entire existence, everything about you is manufactured and a lie, that's what makes people run away from decolonizing. That's what keeps you from healing. Because you haven't grieved the loss of your original identities, y'all are still in the fucking anger mode. And you're turning into the very thing you say you hate. Some of y'all don't want to be united with each other, cool. But some of us do. and some of us are. At the very least y'all could fucking do is stop harming each other. That's the very least y'all could do. And go deal with your traumas.
That was our hermana, Brown Pride Girl. For more from her, search Instagram, Brown Pride Girl.
And now Aztlan Weekly presenta Op-Ed with our camarada Yvette.
¿Qué onda, raza? This is Yvette Xochillot, reporting for Aztlan Weekly desde el condado de La Naranja in Sur Califas. Bueno, I think we all know that something feels off. Every week, the conversation is constantly changing. We talk about immigration one week, then there's something else. There's a political scandal, drama, then another headline. And I know that it's not that people don't care. It's just that the attention keeps moving. And when attention moves, certain things disappear from the conversation. It doesn't mean they actually stop happening. Let's look at immigration detention, for example. For years, there have been reports of what happens inside those camps of pain and destruction. Not once, not twice, but they happen over and over again. There's allegations, investigations, and people brave enough to speak out. And still, every time that it comes back into the news, it feels like people were hearing it for the first time. Like the system has not been there the whole time. And that's what I mean by historical amnesia. It's not just the forgetting about the past. It's about losing track of what is still happening right now. Lately, I've been seeing people say that everything going on is part of a distraction, that it's all meant to pull away attention from the Epstein case and the people connected to him. And I understand why people feel that way, but I don't think everything's just a distraction. Some of what we are seeing has been developing for years. Policies, enforcement strategies, and the long-term plans didn't just happen overnight. They existed before, whether people were paying attention or not. Multiple things can be true at the same time. And while the conversation shifts, the realities stay exactly the same way that they have always been. Our gente are still in detention. These families are still going through the same system. Nothing about that has paused just because the headlines have changed. And it's not just immigration. I have seen this pattern before, with policing, with labor rights, who gets protection and who doesn't. The people the most affected, as you all know, are the same. The ones that rarely stay at the center of the conversation for too long. That's the part that feels familiar. Not the events themselves, but how quickly they stop being talked about. Like our pain and struggle is just temporary. Pero como decimos en México, ni perdón ni olvido.
Welcome to Tengo un Cuento, because we all have a story to tell. I'm not talking chisme. I'm talking about the stories that saved somebody, the lessons your tia passed down so you wouldn't have to learn the hard way, the ones that make the whole family lose it at the dinner table. These are the stories that heal us, that honor us, that remind us of who we are. I'm your host, Shista Garcilaso, and this is Tengo un Cuento. Today, we have the honor of welcoming someone who has spent her life in service to our community, Olga M. Martinez. Accepted to Stanford and UC Santa Barbara, Olga chose UC Santa Cruz, where she earned her bachelor's degree in creative arts in 1973. While there, Olga and her professor, Eduardo Carrillo, the legendary Chicano muralist, and their classmates painted a mural that still stands on campus today. A proud Mecha member at Foothill College and UC Santa Cruz, Olga went on to earn her master's in special education with bilingual emphasis, earning credentials to teach students who learn differently, including those with auditory, visual, or behavioral deficits, autistic students, those with developmental delays, and physical and mental disabilities. Olga dedicated 40 years to students who needed someone in their corner, training as a writing consultant at Fresno State, advising Mecha at Fresno High School for nearly 2 decades, advising Californians for Justice, and creating a college orientation program at Fresno City College for special education students transitioning out of high school. Olga raised 2 children on her own, and both went on to college. From Arte Americas and the Mexican-American Political Association to the Chicano Youth Center, Trabajadores de la Raza, and Chicano Alumni Association, the Chicano Breakfast Club, and La Raza Unida Party, Olga has never stopped showing up. Olga has never stopped showing up. A life member of California Teachers Association and National Education Association, a proud member of Fresno Teachers Association, and a past member of Association of Mexican American Educators. In the early 1970s, while Olga was finding her path at UC Santa Cruz, the city was living through a nightmare. Multiple serial killers stalked the area between 1970 and 1973, earning it the nickname the murder capital of the world. Young women, many of them college students, were among the victims, and yet in the middle of that darkness, a young Chicana kept building. Today, Olga brings us something personal, words she wrote herself, straight from her own experience. We are honored to have her here. Please welcome Olga M. Martinez.
Okay, folks, hi. My name is Olga Martinez, and le peste los calcetines, sometimes. Okay, I'm going to tell you a little story. And right now I'm just calling it the Falcon. Anyway, Elena and I met in 1971 in the cafeteria at Merrill College on the campus of the UC Santa Cruz. We have been friends ever since, although now that we are both in our 70s, we don't visit each other as much as we used to. So I was staying in the dorms when I first transferred to UC from Foothill College. And I had decided to go have some lunch in the Commons. I always did this. I always do 2 things or 3 things at the same time. That's my usual MO. So I was looking for a place to live because I didn't like the dorms. And also looking for a female model before one of my drawing classes. So I saw this girl as I walked into the Commons, and I was immediately struck by her beauty. She was sitting alone and eating her lunch. And she had long, shiny black hair, straight and fine. She had high cheekbones with a strong yet delicate jawline. Her skin appeared to be very smooth. And the color I can describe as being sort of like the color of the Southwest, you know, those browns, sandy browns. She had a sensitive look to her face, and her almond-shaped eyes, her brown almond-shaped eyes, looked up at me as I stood in front of her. I sat down clumsily and did a high-pitched hi. I did not wait for a response. I told her about my art drawing class, that I was looking for models to pose for us, and that we would pay, of course, for her work. She seemed at a loss for words, but her expression of eagerness changed quickly to suspicion. I think I read her thoughts. Is this just another Santa Cruz crazy? I introduced myself, and she responded with her name, too. And I asked her how she happened to be at Merrill. And then we shared a little bit about ourselves. Elena was a transfer student at a Monterey Peninsula College, and I had transferred from Foothill. We also found out that we had been chairs of the Mecha student group in our colleges. Mecha stands for Estudiantil Chicano de Aztlán. I had been the first Chicana president at Foothill, and she had been at MPC. Aztlán is the place the Mexica people first settled. It is located in the southwest part of the United States. Our student group stood for self-determination as well as supporting our communities. Elena was born in Warland, Wyoming, and had left home after high school graduation. She went to live with her aunt in Sacramento, California, and I had a similar post-high school experience, except that I did not have a favorite aunt. I was born in San Antonio, Texas, and we migrated to Califas when I was 10 years old. As soon as I graduated, I went to work. In terms of jobs, I started to work in the tomato fields at 12 years old, and then they kicked me out because I was too young. Then every summer, we would all go to pick grapes. Those grapes became raisins by the end of the summer. Then I was a nanny, a telemarketer, a postal clerk, a psychiatric nursing assistant for the VA, and then I began my college education. That first year at UC was full of optimism and political activism. We were cultural and social activists. We invited guests like Cesar Chavez and Cheech and Chong. We also did fundraisers too and got involved with other colleges. One day in the fall quarter, we planned and executed a dance. Elena and I were in charge of collecting the dance receipts and cash, counting up the money and placing it in a locked cash box, and then we placed that box in the professor's office. He was our sponsor. By the time we finished cleaning and counting, it probably was almost 2. We had decided that after the dance, we would drive up to San Francisco to see our friends, Joel and David. All 4 of us were Huelga supporters and participated in rallies and boycotts with the United Farm Workers Union, which was very prevalent at that time. It was the grapes and then also boycotting Safeway. So when we got into Elena's blue Fiat, we were tired. The dance had been a success, but we were happy to end the event. We sped out towards San Francisco, hoping we would outrun the thickening fog. We were driving along and talking about nothing in particular, and I began to doze off in my front seat. Then suddenly Elena hits my arms. She yells, "Oh, wake up! There's somebody trying to hit us from behind!" And I was still sleepy, but scared by the urgency in her voice. Elena was clutching the steering wheel, and because her body was so tense, she appeared larger in the small bucket seat of the car. Elena kept talking while I tried to peer through the back window into pitch darkness. I could not detect any kind of form in the vehicle behind us. Tense. Very tense. She continued. A car comes up, and he comes up real close behind me and then suddenly brakes. And then he's done that twice already. Elena continues driving her little Fiat and even speeding up more. Then nothing for a while. I said, "Don't worry, he has probably turned off." I began to settle down when suddenly we see the car right behind us with his brights glaring. Then he's beside us on the right side. Then Elena is yelling to me, "What do I do? What do I do? He's going to hit us. He's trying to hit us." And then he veers to the left and we veer also. And I find my voice and I say, go around, we can't stop." She maneuvers around it and steps on it, full throttle. Her little car suddenly feels like a flying tank. It cranks up a hill with smoke spewing out of it into us, our faces. All I could think of was the recent kidnappings around the Santa Cruz community. There had been helicopters up by the university, and many were staying in their homes out of fear. When the car, a white Ford Falcon, had come close to us, I had seen 2 or 3 shadowy figures in the back, in the dark. Elena was flying, and I was praying, hoping that we wouldn't crash. We drove like this for what seemed like a long time, and I kept looking back and then couldn't see any headlights or the form of a car at all. It seemed as though we were both in the same bad dream. We were past Half Moon Bay when we saw a highway patrolman cleaning up after an earlier accident. Elena asked me if we should stop. I yelled, "Yes, yes." We parked by the side of the road in front of his car, and I jumped out and ran back to the CHP. Elena followed, and I began to tell him what had happened, and he asked me a few questions, and Elena came up and continued hurriedly telling him about the weirdos in the white car. We were obviously shaken, and he looked down at us, and then he said, "You don't have to worry now. I will protect you. You can just continue on your way." Elena and I just looked at each other, communicating through our same thought wave. Wow, he sounds like a chauvinist pig. When we were back in the car, we just laughed, and perhaps that released our mutual tension. We had nothing to fear. Our protector was there for us. We calmed down about the near mishap and talked about the description of the car and the figures in it. We kept thinking and talking about it. Was there something we had missed? Then we got into the why. There were questions like, maybe they thought we had money. Maybe they had been waiting for us. And what if they were the kidnappers or the killers everyone was talking about? We arrived in San Francisco finally and went straight to David's brownstone, and he met us at the door. After we were sipping some beer, we started recounting our drive to the city, and Joel just looked at us and asked how much we had to drink or smoke. We laughed. Elena was feeling like maybe they didn't believe us, but then we got more agitated. Joel began to see that we were serious, but to add more mystery to the bizarre night, he remarked that in the book, Journey to Aztlan by Carlos Castaneda, the brujo, or Don Juan, had said that the image of death is a white falcon, or hawk, following you. We all looked at him, and Elena's eyes grew wider as we remembered. But hadn't Castaneda admitted that Don Juan, the brujo, the wise man, had visions that were induced by the drug peyote? No, this had been real, and we were not drinking or using drugs. Then Joel, in a low voice, said, yes, but what if it was death following you? And he trails off. Then David came over behind Elena and put his hands on her shoulders and said, well, don't worry, because you're safe with us. Elena and I looked at each other, remembering the CHP's words. We again thought the same thing. Yeah, we were relatively safe now, but only because of the fast thinking, the fast actions of two young Chicanas. The end. Well, death is always following us, isn't it? Nothing to be afraid of.
Olga, thank you for trusting us with your story. And you know, it's beautiful. She told us that sharing this story moved her to reconnect with her friend Elena. And now they're back in touch. To everyone listening, you are not just an audience, you are witnesses. It is an honor to receive these stories, because tengo un cuento, we all have a story to tell. Hasta la próxima. And now, shout-outs.
We also like to make another special shout out to Hennessy Pedro Parker, desde Houston, Texas, for providing his firme music and beats through the program. If you'd like to hear more from him, visit soundcloud.com/Hennessy Pedro Parker.
And once again, our camarada Veronica Aliel would like to give a shout out to all Raza who are in any way contributing to building locally in their communities. And then invite to join El Partido Nacional de la Raza Unida, to build national political power. If interested, visit razaunidaparty.org. That's razaunidaparty.org. And finally, Aztlan Weekly would like to hear from you, Raza. If you reside anywhere in Aztlan and would like to share newsworthy events with us, or if you would like to make a special shout out to family, friends, y queridos, or an organization serving our community, or if you would like to share your thoughts, cáiganle. Shoot us an email at news@aztlanweekly.com, or you can visit our website at aztlanweekly.com.
You can also find us on social media. Search Aztlan Weekly and click follow, subscribe, like, or share.
Thanks for listening, Raza. Hasta luego.
Gracias.
Que viva la raza y que viva Aztlan libre. Es todo.
21 minutes, Coordinated Universal Time.